Hi there, it's Vikki. I thought I would stop by real quick and tell you a little bit about what's been going on in my world for the last month. It has been absolutely fascinating and wonderful, and I've been getting a lot of questions. So I thought I would put it all together real quick in this video and share with you some information so you have a little bit of knowledge of what's happening. So first and foremost, you might have noticed I've launched my podcast, Authors of the Pacific Northwest. It is an absolute labor of love. I had no idea a couple months ago that I would be starting a podcast, and I am in love with this whole process. But let me tell you a little bit about what the podcast is all about. I'm featuring authors that are published here in the Pacific Northwest. The good news is that you don't have to live in the Pacific Northwest to enjoy the authors or enjoy the podcast. I just kept it real regional so I can stay close to my roots. These authors are all published, and they will be sharing their work on the podcast. And we will also be talking about publication and their process of writing and publication. I'm on the journey myself of becoming a published author, and I started picking a bunch of people's brains, and that's kind of how the podcast got started. So if you are interested in finding a little bit more about writing process or the publication world as it stands now, or just hearing a little bit about some authors that you may have never heard about, that's the podcast for you. So I hope you check it out if you haven't yet. We have 3 episodes right now, and I have episodes recorded and scheduled all the way out into the near future. And I'm scheduling authors from the Pacific Northwest every day, and I'm getting some pretty heavy hitters, so it's going to be great. So stay tuned. Really exciting stuff. The second thing that I did this month was I launched my own personal website. The website has been a work in progress, I would say, for about 4 or 5 years. I've been mulling around in my head about how to really get myself out there creatively and balance my life and work and all the things that are important to me. And so finally, I've been able to create my own personal website that will be a one-stop shop for anybody that wants to hear about the podcast or about my own personal writing that I'm doing and publishing, which in the future that will be coming out, as well as my blog. So you might have noticed there's been some blog posts, a lot of blog posts. I'm doing a blog challenge that has challenged me to post a blog every day for the month of April, and that will definitely be slowing down, so you won't be seeing so many blogs. But if you want to go back and read those post, you can. So the website and information will be down below so you can check it out. It's www.squishpin.com. Squishpin I talk about on the website where that came about. Some of you might remember it from years ago when we were touring around, with my husband. So I also started to experience Twitter and found that Twitter is a really cool place for somebody like me that's an author. And so if you aren't on Twitter and you're not interested in Twitter, I really challenge you to jump on and find me, because what I'm doing on Twitter is I'm going to be sharing with you little snippets of my works in progress, the books that I'm working on, their titles, and a little bit about their character development for each of those books. It's a lot of fun. So Twitter is really great. I was a little apprehensive about being on there myself, but I found that it's a blast. So if you want to preview a little bit about my works that are coming up, Twitter will be the place for you to do that. I also started a patron site, and the patron site is available for anybody that's interested in helping to support the podcast, the development of the podcast, and you can check out the link there below about how to access that patron site. The patron site is going to be really cool because those that actually will participate as being patrons for as little as a cup of coffee a month, which is really cheap for us here in the Pacific Northwest, that's a pretty big deal. You're going to get access to some extra bonus material from my authors that nobody else will get. So check the patron site. It'll help offset some of the expenses of hosting the podcast and all that kind of stuff. So also the really great stuff is that we're doing freebies. And so I talked a little bit about the freebie that we had this month. J.H. Winter and Kay Kibbe donated a signed copy of their work. It went to a fabulous person. She was on the list, and so I drew her name, and that's going to a good home. So we're doing another freebie. And that freebie is going to be 2 books this time, because I had 2 authors donate some of their work. I have C.J. Jones' book and David Jones' book. C.J. will be featured on the podcast April 16th, and David will be featured on April the 30th. So how do you get into being in the drawings? Great question. There's a link below. You click on that link and it will take you to signing up for my newsletter. By signing up to my monthly newsletter, you will be automatically entered into all the drawings between now and the near future. So you don't have to ever worry about being entered in again. The cool thing is that almost every author that has visited me on the podcast is donating signed copies of their work. So that's what I'm using for these freebies. And so if you're interested in that, definitely go there. I promise not to abuse your email address. It's only going to be for the newsletter, and the newsletter is going to catch you up on what's going on with the podcast, what's going on with me, all of that, all in your inbox. So that's some of the great, exciting stuff we have going on. In the Carter house, creativity is flowing everywhere. You might have heard that my daughters are being creative. Things are going on. My husband's whole music thing is kind of being revived, which is a lot of fun. So don't miss out on anything. If you aren't already associated with me on Instagram or Twitter, follow me. If you're here on Facebook and it's your first time hearing about all this, awesome. Make sure you stay in the loop. Get on my newsletter and you'll be entered to win. I will be doing the drawing for those 2 books on May the 2nd. I'll release who wins, and there's going to be 2 people. I'll do 1 per book. And so if you want to make sure you're a part of the fun, jump on the link. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you really find some inspiration in some of the things that we're doing, and I hope that you enjoy the journey with us. See you later.